Hey, we're all here at our Discord, the altar, and we're just having a really great conversation. So I
Yeah, we're
decided
just
that
talking to.
yeah, I decided that I'd start streaming it and recording it for for later generations to enjoy, and hopefully some people will see it and they'll be able to go back to this conversation, and hopefully we can make this maybe a regular thing on Sunday nights. It'd be great. It'd be a great like a little radio show we could do for our own Discord.
Yeah, yeah. Fuck the. I mean, ooh, I can't say that, but we're doing this for us too.
Yeah, we. I
So
mean,
Oh, I love.
anyone who
Yeah.
might see it, we love them, but you know,
I'm sorry.
it's all
I shouldn't have went that deep. I'm sorry.
yeah, it's just yeah, it's all right. So we've been talking
Can I
about the
can I
nature of
can I
ignorance.
cuss on? You know that. You know if I can do that.
what?
Can I curse?
Oh yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't care, but I
Okay.
think that maybe
Just gotta make sure.
I think that YouTube has YouTube gotten sensitive about that recently. I don't know.
Yeah, they
No.
have.
Have
No,
they?
you. Yeah.
So I guess to keep it family friendly if possible, but um,
I'll keep it. I'll keep it a little bit good.
yeah,
I'll keep it as good as I can.
keep it PG. But if it needs emphasis, like feel free, to express yourself however you want.
Yeah. All right.
But
So
so Rao was telling us about a meditative experience.
Yeah. So just piggybacking off of the part of the conversation that obviously isn't being recorded or wasn't recorded, but there was this experience that I had meditating, and I've had a few of these sorts of experiences, not this specific one, but things that sort of freaked me out a little bit almost. And what led me to share this is the that what should I call you? Should I call you by your Discord handle
call
or
me
what?
happy.
I'm sorry.
You can call me happy.
Happy. Yeah.
AJ.
So yeah. So Happy was saying that he was watching a video, right, about someone telling him to focus on certain parts of his body and
Do
how
you
when.
go ahead and tell that again?
Yeah, go ahead.
We were sitting here. Okay, so we were having a conversation about awareness and like what it actually is. And something I said earlier is that to become aware and to fight unconsciousness, and like the whole definition of unconscious is to be unconscious of being conscious. You have to be aware of being unconscious to become aware. It's that loophole in the catch 22 thing. Yeah, like you guys already heard that, But basically, what it was is you had to get something that you can see the seconds pass by, and you wait till the second hand gets to the 12, and for 60 seconds, you try and focus on everything at once in your surroundings. So you try and focus on your feet. You'll forget about the room around you. You try and focus on your hand. You'll forget about your feet. But this whole situation has made you forget about the conversation you were having, people. And it just like shows you truly like how naturally unaware just like we truly are in our normal state of being. Like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So from that, I was reminded of an experience I had, I believe, last Thursday. Yes, it was last Thursday. Um, and I was meditating, and I had this thought that sort of crossed my mind as a memory of something that I can't remember where it came from, but I know that it was like some YouTube video. And it was this idea that we can, through inclusion, spread our awareness, our being over a larger area, so to speak. I'm not remembering that particularly well, but I decided to give it a shot, to just get into my meditative state and then push my consciousness out evenly until it reached particular surfaces, and then include those surfaces in myself. And as I did this, I had the most strange experiences of sensation. Just my conscious be able to feel my pillow. I wasn't touching it, but part of me was touching it. Part of me was touching it and then included it in its wholeness into myself, and I could feel its weight resting on my bed, and from there I could feel my bed resting on the floor, and then from there I could feel the ceiling and the walls resting on the floor. And it was very strange and slightly terrifying, because I sort of lost track of my body, but when I focused on it, I could feel it again, but not at the exclusion of other things. And I don't know, I've never really had an experience like that before, and it was very interesting to me because the concept that I was exploring was completely theoretical until I tried it. I put my will and my power into it, and it happened. It was very shocking how easy it was in that state. And since then, a lot of things have just been very simple, and I feel more comfortable in my room, just because I know it implicitly. I know every nook and cranny.
Well, it goes with the whole thing about awareness. You meditated to the point where you expanded your consciousness to your surrounding, and like the Hermetic principle that all is mental, you embodied all the things that were basically affirming their existence off of you, as well as you were affirming your existence off it. So
Yeah.
in a sense, you were merging and embodying the walls and things around you, because the only thing that makes something to begin with is the fact that it is contradicting, bouncing light off of it, fighting the gravitational force, blah blah blah. It's all interconnected.
Yeah. I feel like I had a really powerful meditative experience recently that is very similar to this, which is the other day I was praying. I usually pray before I meditate, and then pray after I meditate. It's part of a whole process, but during it I had the impression, I need to blindfold myself. So I blindfolded myself, and I was sitting there, and I found that I could visualize with my mind this space around me, the physical space around me, and it was almost like I could see. It was almost like I could fully see with my eyes closed. It was just that I couldn't see if things changed, but I could see what I had detected of them by constructing in my mind I would detect them with my hands and my feeling, and I would smell for them, and I would listen to the echoes, and using that data, in my meditation, I was able to construct a model in my mind that I could see in my mind of the room that I was in. And that's what we do all the time. It's just that we trust our eyes too much. Our eyes are very, very good sensory objects, and so we are often enticed by the things that our eyes show us, and we believe that they're real in a higher sense than they're in the mind. But they're also a projection that's in the mind.
They are real though. Like as so above, as so below, as so below, as so above. Our eyes are a part of our higher beings. Like in order to change our higher selves and to improve our higher selves, we must work the lower. Okay, you know, like in order to manifest things in the lower, you must apply the rules of the higher.
Right.
The whole thing of occult knowledge is based off of that, using the rules of the higher planes against the lower. Okay, that's what it's all about. It's about using these laws and using these functions for the benefit of the flow. When you are doing any form of magic, I guess you could say, or occult practice, or manifesting, or any of these things, you can't be in the mind state of the thing that's going to die and rot, turn to dirt, and be eaten by bugs. You know, you had to embody the thing that does not give a shit about anything of this life. It realizes that it's a joke and that this is all not even really real in comparison to the all, which is eternal, since everything here will die and end. Like, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, but it can be changed to the point where one can consider it dead. If I were to turn you into a rock, would you say you would be pretty much fucking dead? I mean, I wouldn't say, like, not your consciousness, but your physical body. You know, that of course, this is an extreme view of it. You know,
I don't think
you see
so.
what I'm saying?
I think that in the Diamond Sutra, Buddha teaches that there are 4 things that one must give up in order to attain enlightenment. And one of those things is that one must give up the idea of living beings as opposed to non-living beings. Dead things are living just as living things are living. They're just living in a different way. They have a different material reality. Our physical bodies are only living in that they're mechanical. And the only reason that we feel like life has a special property about it is because we are ensouling the life with our bodies, or with our spiritual bodies. We are ensouling our spiritual bodies into our physical bodies.
You can say that, but you have to embody the present moment in order to actually become the Brahman. Okay, you can't think like that, because you won't be able to control and perform what people call alchemy. You know what I'm saying? You have to. I lost my train of thought. What was I? Okay, what did you say before I responded? I really forgot. I'm sorry.
About the. Well, just start over, man. Start over.
Oh man,
Don't worry about it.
it'll come back.
That's the ebb and flow of philosophical thinking. Sometimes you feel like you're on a train, but if you lose it, you lose it. That's all right. Just let it go. The mind is a very beautiful thing, and the body is too, and the spirit is as well. And that's the Trinity that is the true divine Trinity. That life is both physical and mental and spiritual. And that's what's the truth behind God the Father. God the Father is the thing that gives rise to existence, the material. And God the Son is the thing that comes from that, which is intelligence, and God, the Holy Spirit, is the spirit.
Oh, I
ensouls
remember what I
that.
was gonna say. I'm sorry I cut you off, man. But I was gonna say you have to embody a human being. To me, okay. If you die, okay, of course your consciousness lives on, but you go to a different level of existence that doesn't play by the rules of this. Like you don't play by the rules of time no more, and time is the thing that comprises this entire existence. Of course, people say time's an illusion, but of course it is to the consciousness. It is an illusion, but you got to remember you're playing a game, right?
Hmm.
Like this, like you're dying as we speak. I'm dying as we speak. Like my systems are failing, and my cells are
Well,
just dying and dying and dying, and I'm constantly fighting
right,
against
because
death.
the
You
material
know,
world.
we're all constantly fighting. Hey, you know, so the whole thing about it is, you know, not to think, you know, like, oh, okay, well, if this thing dies, it's not really dead, you know. And of course that's true. Life and death are the same thing. That's the hermetic principle of polarity. All things at a certain point connect.
Right.
Like
Heraclitus put
life
it
and
in
death
the way of
are just a
enantiodromia.
measurement of the same function. You know, yeah. I mean, it's basically the same thing. So you just like, and this is all the dangers of thought. You know what I'm saying? When you think about this shit too much, you can get caught up in it.
We make division and dichotomies and separations in things simply because our sensory faculties require it in order to make sense of what we're looking at, make sense of what we hear, in order to make sense of what we smell, touch, and taste. We unconsciously manufacture judgments, and these judgments bring forth confusion. The mind is a wonderful tool, and it's beautiful in its own right. But if we live too much from it, just like if we live too much from the spirit or the body, we have we send ourselves into a state of confusion and discord, disharmony within ourselves. So, like, if you live too much in your body, you'll seek sensual pleasure, food and sex and restfulness. If you're too much in your mind, seek the you'll seek judgment and clarity and purpose. And if
You'll
you're
probably
too
also
much,
seek death.
and if you're
would
too much
Right.
in your spirit, then to the exclusion of the others, then you lose track of the other two, which are inextricable parts of yourself.
Right.
You sort of float out. You sort of float out into become confused that way, in that there's nothing for you to identify. You sort of separate yourself by identifying solely with spirit. You separate yourself from the oneness of all things.
Exactly. That's a very
and
great
s-
way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
that's
exactly. Like you, and this is gonna sound weird, but you had to embody like the madman, pretty much. You had to feel the pain of the fact that you're gonna die, and you have to feel that fear. You can't lie to yourself. If you feel like you're doing wrong in life, if you feel like you're in a cycle, you're probably in a cycle. You have to, you know what I'm saying? because if you drink poison, you can keep thinking, well, it's like I may not die, I may not die, I may not die. Well, that whole time when you're thinking about that possibility that of you not dying, you're not doing anything to actually help yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's for the same reason that I could say a sound of a gong, a sound of a gong, a sound of a gong. It's never gonna be the same as the actual sound of a gong. That's the thing, you know. People always talk about killing their ego, you know, opening their third eye, you know, all this shit. But it really, if you think about this too much and you start believing that, you know, you gotta get this mystical power, you know, all this shit, you'll get caught up subconsciously into this one-up game. It's like, I even get into it too. It's like, okay, well, I want to improve myself because I want to live long. I want to get more money. I want to improve spiritually. Blah blah blah. And it's like, well, why do you want to actually do that? Well, you know, because I want to. Well, what do you think? You know, probably want to be better than the other guy. You know, that's really it's a primordial thing that we all have to accept in ourselves. You know, envy is an actual thing. You know, and that's another thing. In meditation, not really. It's about accepting the noise and that causing silence. Your brain will constantly think. It's what it does. It's literally live. The reality around you, you know, picking it apart, deciphering logic and reason, and predicting and assuming, you know, calculating, always calculating, you know, and you know, you just have to embody the present. If you embody the soul and the spiritual shit too much, you'll do the same thing that the person embodying the physical is doing too much. You know, true bliss is finding yourself at ground zero. You know, getting to the point where you can sit in a chair with nothing going on in a bland, dull room, wanting to talk. Just sitting there and being able to just breathe. Just think. You know, people look at alligators and birds, and you know how those animals like that, they'll just sit in one spot for hours. You know, I don't know about you. It's like, especially with insects, they'll sit in one spot for like hours and hours and hours and never had to move. Why? Because they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're living. They'll move when they have to eat. When they have to.
That's basically everyone here.
Yeah, exactly. The commonality with all things that are living is that we have a pain in ourselves. We have a pain. We all things have sorrow. You know, it's just about being able to embody the transistor, the conduit. You know, being able to accept the flow of things greater than yourself. You know, accepting the fool to become God. You know, because you just gotta give it up and smile, accept it, accept beauty. It's for the same reason that life continues as it is and as it's doing today. You know, while you're breathing and your heart's still beating. You know, it always comes back to this. You know, all negative things are just caused by a resistance of that natural flow. You know, if we were all truly, if I was truly living in the moment right now, actually conscious and aware, and There was no bullshit in the way, and like I wasn't in my brain, or I wasn't too far to the left or right, leaning to too far of an extreme. And it's impossible almost in this reality to do that because we live in a world of duality. It's just how it is. Duality is a normal function of this life. Why there's be present in all things, so on and so forth. This life is just about accepting the present.
Yeah.
In my opinion, it's because that's where you find serenity, But at the same time, you have to also encompass the exact opposite. It's so strange to talk about. It's like you have to have the will to die, and the will to live at the exact same time, and have one another.
You have to have a
fuel
lot.
each other.
Yeah. You have to. This life is really designed for us to learn. We're here. I just want to impress on people the allegorical image that the earth is a spiritual academy, that your eternal soul comes to be on earth to learn. And you've come here to learn and to be, and that all of these things that we're talking about are exactly what we've come here to study. We've come to study.
Yeah, I think once we're fully done with this life, man, I think we become basically what God is to this world. And then after that, it just keeps on going and going and going until we encompass a mirror image of the all. And the all can look at us, see itself.
Right.
And we can look at the all and see ourselves. And through that, we find individuality and connection.
That's
and
a really
is where
interesting
the
thing.
eternal peace.
Where the Book of Mormon says, well, it's actually, I think it's in the Pearl of Great Price or in the Doctrine and Covenants, but basically, Joseph Smith taught that that as God now is, man will be, and God once was what man now is. That there's an eternal process, an eternal progression from lesser to greater, and it's
exactly because the low one day is going to be the high, and the high one day is going to be the low. So
right.
That's why neither one of them wants to fuck with the other, because in the end, it's always going to cause pain.
It's
because
an
it
eternal,
all comes around.
It's an eternal circle.
Mm-hmm.
It's a circle that pulls itself through, and it's like. What does God want to do? What does the greatest God want to do when he's done? When the mind expands to its greatest limits, what does it want to do? It wants to become like bacteria or insects or atoms or quarks, or like he wants to go to the very lowest level. And that's the level that it would be thinking on. You have to realize that it's awareness.
I think the coolest little way to say it is like a particle is the only thing that kill a god, and the god is the only thing that can kill a particle.
Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah, it's like the unmoved mover, and the
unmovable object and the unstoppable force.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the object is unmovable by anyone except the unstoppable force, and the unstoppable force is unstoppable except anyone by the unmovable object, and they become the Ouroboros, the snake eating its own tail.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the cycle of our world. That's the cycle of our life. We live in that cycle, and it's because we're in this cycle that we're able to experience things, and we just give calculations to how we number time, we number things, we number the way that it goes. So we number degrees on the great calendar. A great year of the Earth is 26,000 something years long, because that's how long it takes for the Earth's wobble to rotate it back to normal. And that's how long the zodiac takes to restore to its place. So the Earth remains the same in regard to the zodiac will return in regard to the stars to the same place once every 26,400 or so years, something like that. And that's something that's amazing to me, is that we think we have a year, and then in the Bible it says that a year in your eyes, meaning God, a year in your eyes, God, is 1,000 years to us. Or a day in your eyes, God, is 1,000 years to us. It's saying that we measure time in arbitrary ways, and that's such a beautiful thing to me, because we measure all things in arbitrary ways. We measure distance arbitrarily. We measure.
Think about it like this, man. Time exists as something not creating itself as it goes along. Science has proven that time is a object that exists as an entire thing.
Right, it's a plane of itself.
It's something that for some reason we are just traveling linearly through in one direction. But here's the thing: the reason why it works like that is because we are a part of that time flow, because since we are composed of carbon, composed of matter, and living in this present moment, in this world, in this universe, while this earth is rotating, we are comprised of the same shit that makes up everything. We are the same thing. We are the same primordial force of the Big Bang, expanding out to vast nothing, where it's the same thing. So, yeah.
That's you're describing my beliefs very well. It's they say that all sages agree and all church folk disagree.
Yeah. Because a true sage realizes that the goal is to become a mirror. You're not trying to be. You're trying to reflect. I mean, like, I see myself through everybody I meet, and everybody I meet, you know what I'm saying? Like, I learn so much shit about myself through other people, and I try and give that back to other people too. I try and not so much become like an effector or a causer. I talk about being a causer a lot, but if you want to practice occult shit and what people call magic, you had to embody that. And of course that's kind of bad, because it starts fucking karma. People talk about karma and shit, but the true way to achieve like true peace, bliss, and happiness is to become the mirror, because the act of becoming a mirror is to embody both of the functions.
Right.
You at the same time, one can say you're causing thing, because you are reflecting what is going on, but you're not really, because if nothing was actually there, the mirror would be reflecting nothing but an infinite loop. So it does both of those functions at once.
That's an interesting thing about mirrors.
That's the incredible thing.
Yeah, mirrors are a very interesting thing. I meditate on mirrors often, and the reason why is that a mirror is not you. When you look into a mirror, the mirror is not you. It's a mirror reflection of you, and it's important to distinguish between the mirror and the self. But at the same time, it's important to recognize that the essential substance of both things has the same exact source. And that same exact source is the spiritual self, which is a rendering of the Trinity in a sense. You have the self, the mirrored self, which is the opposite. You're looking at yourself, but when you wave your right hand, it waves its left hand. That's how it works. So it's a mirror
Yeah,
itself.
exactly. If
And
you
then
understand like fourth
yeah,
dimensional and like higher dimensional physics, you know what I'm saying? A crazy thing that if fourth dimensional entities actually like if I knew a fourth dimensional entity, you know, you know what
you
I'm
are a
saying?
fourth dimension.
And
You're a
I
fifth
asked,
dimensional entity. You exist within 5 dimensions
eh,
at least already. It's just
yeah.
that you
So
may not have your awareness
wait,
in that level.
but okay, but anyway, if a crazy thing that a fourth dimensional entity could do in this dimension is that it could take you and flip you into the mirror image of yourself in this world.
Right.
So okay, it's okay. It's crazy to think about, but think about it like you know how like let's think of a book for example. If a fourth dimensional entity flipped a book through the fourth dimension and then back over again, okay, that mirror to us would look like what it would be in the mirror, okay, constantly, and there would be
Hmm.
no way we could change.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that it's like if you're creating something in a 3D modeling studio, you're almost that fourth dimensional entity who's editing through time these three dimensional objects. So they
Yeah,
exist.
exactly. Like, sorry, go on.
Oh, they exist only in 3 dimensions. That's why I'm saying that we already exist as 4 dimensional entities. We just don't think about it ourselves that way because we're going through time. We just go through time in one direction, so we ignore that direction because it's constant. It's a constant direction to us.
Right.
It's like if we're always going forward. It's like the motion of the Earth. The Earth is going around the sun, and it's going around the sun at thousands of miles an hour. But we don't notice that we're going around the sun because it's a constant thing. It's a constant speed, and we don't know any different. We don't know what it's like to be not moving at all. You know, it's
What do you think that Princess and the Pea story is all about, man? What do you think that story's about that they told you as a kid? You know what I'm saying? It's about awareness.
yeah.
All right. Because I know it probably sounds silly right now. You know what I'm saying?
But
Like,
she could
I'm talking
detect
about
a
like some
difference.
kid's story.
Yeah, she could detect a difference.
But
No, those stories are important to our mythology. They're important to our mind. I agree. But tell what you're saying.
yeah, exactly. So that whole story is about like this king was trying to find a wife, right? So but he couldn't find one because every single woman he met like was uncaring and unloving and vulgar and blah blah blah. So one night this homeless like low class lady went into the palace and claimed to be a princess. So the queen had her doubts and said, all right, if she's a queen, then if I were to put a pea underneath 20 mattresses and she were to lay on top of that, she would be so used to the laying on rocks and dirt and uncomfortable things that she would be unable to feel that pea. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that night, that whole process goes through, and the next day, the one of the servants goes up to the queen and basically says that the princess was complaining all night that something was underneath her mattress and that it bruised her even. And that's when the prince knew that he found her queen, and they married and happily ever after. But basically, what that story is trying to tell people and tell kids in this matter is basically like, don't get too caught up
Don't get too
in
caught
the
up.
pain. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Don't get too caught up. You know what I'm saying? Because you have the ability to be, the Brahmin, to be like a prince or a king or a queen. In this terminology, because even though she was that way, her intentions were so pure that she basically was the same as a queen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm trying to say this in a way that makes sense, but
No, I understand. I
yeah,
understand what you're saying. It's-
yeah, the whole goal is to not run away from your feelings and your gut feelings and your emotions. And people say like, oh, don't don't express anger, you know, or like when you cry in public, people will tell you like, oh, don't cry, you know. You're not, like, society tricks you into trying to suppress all of your emotions, you know. So it just because you have an emotion doesn't mean you have to act upon it, okay?
Yeah.
There, I said it. There's the truth, okay? Because emotions don't actually exist, all right? They're just in your head. Your higher self realizes this, all right, but your lower self does not, okay?
Yeah.
Because the emotional plane is higher than the physical plane. So if you're in the physical plane, you will take orders from your emotion.
Yeah, that's exactly
Okay,
true.
and a lot of people do. Okay, a lot of people do, and therefore that acceptance of that problem causes this problem to go up the whole chain. So then your brain will start to replicate this acceptance. Okay, and you'll start to think. For example, if a person gets the bad habit of thinking, okay, they have a bad social interaction, for example, okay, and they're like, oh man, I fucking suck at talking to people, you know, like I must have anxiety or something, you know, because people love to label and shit. So then they'll start thinking they have anxiety over time, you know, they'll start judging themselves more and more. It's the same reason why people develop a stutter.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's all psychological. You know, that you get caught up in it. Like, for example, this pain in my side that I was having. For a long time, I was very anxious around people. I was constantly in this state of mind where I was assuming everything. Before I did anything, I would think it out in my brain, prejudge things. I would think about. I would prejudge what people were thinking of me. Like I always thought I looked like a crazy person in public. You know what I'm saying? But that wasn't the truth. I just looked like a normal guy. I looked like everybody else. But that's that extremist shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
You're right.
You know,
It's the middle path.
because in the end it doesn't really matter. You know, because people may disagree with what you think and how you feel and all that, but like that's good because that means that you have something to bounce off of. You know, like if you think you found the answer, like which there is no possible way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
If you feel like you found the answer, then you're a fool. Then you're a fool again. You start over.
Then you're a fool. You're gonna stagnate because it's like, okay, you won. Now what? Have fun.
Well,
have fun sitting around doing nothing because all of the surprises have been foiled. All the veils have been lifted. All the knowledge has been attained. Therefore, all knowledge has been attained. So basically, all physical. So what is there? What is there left to have? There's nothing. You just sit and wait to die.
That's the amazing thing about like the tarot. When you go through the tarot cards, the Fool is given the number 0, and the Fool is nothing. But if you arrange the tarot major trumps in order, the Fool is he looks as though he's going to walk through them all. And he's going to walk through them in order, and that's what happens. The Fool begins the process and becomes the magician, and then he learns about the high priestess, and then etc. On and on.
This is so true. When you embody 0, you embody infinity.
Exactly.
Pretty much.
So you reach the end, and then what happens? You become the Fool again. the fool.
And you reach the beginning all over again.
That- this is
I know.
what, This is what Socrates said. Socrates was said that he was told by the oracle at Delphi, the oracle of Apollo, that he was the wisest of all the Greeks. And he said, how could that possibly be? How could it possibly be that I'm the wisest of all the Greeks? It makes no sense to me because I don't know anything. I don't understand any of this.
Right.
And so he went to the cities of the Greece, and he went around and he asked people for answers to things. And he was like, well, what is love? What is strength? What is nobility? What is good? What is philosophy? He asked those questions to people, and he found that people thought they knew the answer, but they didn't. And he could disprove that they knew the answer, but he also didn't know the answer. So in the fact that he didn't know, Socrates was the wisest of all the Greeks because he understood that I don't know the truth, and thus all these people around me who think they do know the truth, they become attached to an idea, but that's not the truth. That's not the truth itself, and the truth must be sought for as a living thing. And so the person who understands that they know nothing becomes the true seeker. And the true seeker and the truth have a relationship that's like the yin and the yang. They become the yin and the yang. They become one. They become one married couple. And the fool, together with infinity, by becoming zero, by embracing the fact that they know nothing, they become everything.
Yeah, I think a little fun way to encompass all this and summarize it. A good little band I know is called Tally Hall. They have a song called "Ruler of Every," and a part of the chorus. I mean, not the chorus, but one of the verses is "Know you know it must be never ending. Comprehend if you can. But when you try to pretend to understand, you resemble a fool, although you're only a man. So give it up and smile."
Right. Song lyrics is so great for
Yeah. So just a observation that I have about the tarot is that the meaning of the death card isn't like death in the traditional sense of like dying, and it's not something to be scared of. It is a transition, a transformation, a change.
What is the number of
And
the death
so,
card? This is a legitimate question. What is
13.
the number? So 13.
13.
So there are 22 trumps, right?
Yeah, including the fool as number 0.
As number 0, yeah. So 13 is like right. It's not exactly at the middle, which would be 11, but right after the middle point, one reaches death. You know, so it's like your life, your spiritual life, you go and then you reach death, which changes you, but you're not gone. You're not finished. You still have half of the journey to go. And that's like the cycle of the year and everything else to me. I continue what you were going to say, but I just wanted to bring that up, that it's like it's right in the middle of the trump.
One of the things that I've been meditating on is the idea that death isn't the end, it's the beginning of infinity. And so, which goes into some other concepts that I'll get into briefly. So we've all said at various times that the physical body that we have is made up of atoms that came directly from the, and when we die, they obviously return there unless we jettison ourselves into space. So in this way, there is a continuity of our body's atoms, the particles, the bits and pieces that make up our body, came from the earth, are perpetuated by things that come from the earth, and then return to the earth when we die.
Yes.
And so our body never really disappears. It continues infinitely. There are bits of you that were in dinosaurs at one point.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so similarly, our consciousness, I believe, we don't have any scientific evidence of this, but as above, so below, our consciousness has a continuity. It doesn't die, it simply changes. And so when we die, when we as a being, a whole being made of body, mind, soul, departs, the consciousness continues on. And I'm not going to make any claims about the specifics of that process because I haven't the foggiest idea, and there are many, many ideas. But the idea as this relates to several of the things we've already talked about in the tarot is that the Fool being 0 and the World 21, the 22nd
Trump.
major arcana,
That's the fullness.
is usually depicted as an entity encompassed by an Ouroboros,
Right. It's
which is the same shape as the 0.
which means go back to the beginning. Once you reach the end,
Yes.
you go back to the beginning. It's an eternal
Indeed.
cycle.
And so our consciousness goes through this process not only in this, like when our totality of being in whatever iteration or form we're currently manifested in dies or passes, but also over the course of our lives.
Oh wait, I'm not actually back. I gotta get some coffee.
Over the course of our lives, we have these cycles, and the tarot expresses this as well. Also, all of the I believe. I have to look at it. I believe all of the more spiritual archetypes come in the major arcana trump cards after death, and all of the ones that embody specific earthly archetypes happen before.
Right. So the history of the tarot, which is something
Because it's all.
I'm sorry to interrupt. The history of the
No,
tarot.
it's fine.
The history of the tarot, which is something that is in the secret teachings of all ages that I'm in the current in teaching, and people who, if they see this on YouTube, this is in my YouTube channel, or it will be soon. The tarot cards represent they weren't a deck of playing cards, not really. They were a secret book of wisdom that was taken from the Persians and was taken by the Knights Templar to France, to the south of France. And in the south of France, at Rennes-le-Château, they began to make playing cards of this book so that it could be distributed with the Knights Templar, but that anyone who asked what it is that they're looking at, that they're flipping through, they could say, oh, it's a deck of cards, because they wanted to disguise this deck of wisdom so that it would not be misunderstood, and it would not lead to them being burnt at the stake, like Jesus Christ was burnt at the stake. I mean, he was
Wow.
crucified. You know, they did want that. Yeah.
Yeah, this goes back to the beginning when we were talking about hidden knowledge and traversing the direction between lie and truth.
I'm glad to have you back, Choi. What are your thoughts on all this that we've been talking about?
Oh, sorry, I was working on my lab manual for biology, biotech. Yeah, I would agree with what was discussed during the past half hour.
I'm back. Hello.
Hey,
Hey,
Oh, hey, man.
Hey, Canuck, I
What's
see
good?
that you're listening. Do you want to say anything? Do you want to say hello, or I don't know? I would like to hear from anyone who's in the channel.
Sorry, I'm just lurking.
Oh, cool, man.
I don't really have much to add. I just I like to listen. I'm absorbing it kind of.
Yeah,
osmosis and
cool,
all that.
man. Cool, man.
for sure.
Well, much love to you, my friend.
Well, the man is listening, guys. You better watch out.
Yeah.
Something else that I would like to share before I actually head off to bed because it's kind of late where I am.
yeah.
Is that something that I've been considering and pondering is the way that our actions and thoughts shape our our not just our understanding, but our ability to perceive reality around us, and how this sends ripples out into the universe around us, and when those things involve other people, the ripples that we send out through our actions and our words and our thoughts join with them in an inseparable way that then leaks out from them too, in addition to their own thing. So you're not just you, you're a catalog of all of the expressions and thoughts and words and actions and interactions of the people you've met and the people that they've met, on and on and on, and including those that have died and are no longer with us. And so this is still very early for me, this conception of things, and truly trying to understand and create this idea, but it just seems to me like true that I'm not just me, I'm every person I've ever met in some way, because without them having gone through the experience they went through, without them having done the things that they've done and said that they've said, they wouldn't have been the person that they were when I interacted with them, and they subtly changed in ways that I don't necessarily have the capacity, knowledge, or even understand, but they did. Just sort of like the butterfly effect, how a butterfly flapping its wings in one part of the world can cause hurricanes in another part of the world,
Right.
simply because that minute fluctuation in them creates large effects later on that can't be predicted. And in the same way, our interactions with each other lead to changes within us and within them, and within all people, such that our local reality, which is what the term that I use for my perception of reality, my local reality can affect the local reality of people. And so and the number of people around you, the unity in, has its own consciousness, and then the state that it sits in, or the county, or the whatever, up and up and up to global reality, can be shaped by the simplest interaction between two people. And this concept is, I don't know if I'm explaining it well, but it's...
I get what you're saying, man. Okay, I think what you're trying to say is that everybody, like the whole job of your subconscious and conscious brain is so that your conscious brain can decipher from things going on around you what you accept as truth and what you accept as falsity. You know what I'm saying? It's constantly deciphering. But when we get into this topic, we come to the conclusion that there is two types of people. And this comes from a philosopher I enjoy very much, Alan Watts. There is spiny people, prickly people, you know, and then there is weak people, you know, people who are amorphous people. You know, the prickly person would say, you know, well, it's not. But at the same time, the amorphous, weak person is letting shit happen to them, and they are being too non, sturdy, not prickly enough. They let things trigger them. They abide by making people happy and being
What
like
the
a
fuck?
servitude.
What the fuck kind of shit was that?
They have to.
Trying to make some shit
What I'm
out
trying to say here is that's that feeling. Yeah. But not everybody is. The world isn't entirely prickly. The world isn't entirely, there's prickly.
Ooh, troubles all the time. Troubles all the time, baby.
Everything. Prickly people say that the world consists of particles. We persons will say that it consists of waves. Both are true, but one has to exist so the other can even understand like what they are.
Greater jug into the lesser jug.
Exist.
And from thence it is consumed.
Like what it's would be.
Simple. It's great. The greater vessel into the lesser vessel.
A reaction
Off the ball.
to every cause and a cause.
My God in heaven, you have
Or else
given everything.
like my
Everything to us. We have just yet to see it.
causing vibrations
My Lord.
in
We have just yet to see your greatness.
so that you can hear me and understand what I'm saying.
There in the room. I'm coming for you. Smells like feet. So I make a distinction here. I make a distinction between what's physical and what's spiritual, because physically speaking, everything affects everything else. Mechanically speaking, if you just look at the system as a whole, nothing exists in a vacuum. Nothing exists in a completely removed system. Everything exists in a system that is interconnected with everything around it. And it's like there is no environment that is truly, completely disconnected from the outside environment. You can try to create a vacuum, but you can't. But when it comes to spiritual things, yeah. Yes, yes. I have.
the lowest branch, and after a week he was able to fly to the top of the tree. And he let out a big caw. Well, an old farmer sitting on his porch saw a big fat bird on the top of a tree, took out his shotgun and shot him, and had a nice meal. The lesson of the story is even bullshit can get you to the top, but it'll never let you stay there.
See, I somehow
I know that's a
you telling that story, I remember what I was gonna say. It was that if a bird is sitting on an ox, the ox is receiving the bird as the bird is also receiving the ox. It isn't just the ox just obliterating the force of the bird entirely. It's the two of them actually resisting one another. You know what I'm saying?
No. We have the
That's
whole
what.
recording.
That's what.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So did we miss the entire? Like none of this was.
No.
recorded?
We recorded it. It was just when I got up to go to the bathroom, and when I did, I muted one of the two things I was recording, and instead of muting the microphone, which I should have done, I muted the desktop audio, which means that everyone gets to hear me peeing instead of hearing you guys talking for like.
Oh, great!
Yeah, for like 20 seconds or whatever, because I live in a studio apartment, so it's small. But
Oh my god!
Yeah, well, yeah, you know. Anyway, now it should be good. It should be good. I just messed it up on this one. That's just funny. You know, all of life is a joke. All of life is a cosmic joke. And don't get too serious about it. The more seriously you treat life, the worse off you are. The worse off you are. If you treat life as just being a funny fucking thing,
man,
it is.
You can't take it too unserious either. You know what I'm saying? You got to take it in intervals. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, right. You can't treat it like it
I'll
doesn't
spend
matter.
Days, I'll get my work done. It's for the same reason why we're awake and like why we are awake during the day and why we sleep during the night, or why we sleep in the first place. You know.
So, I just wanted to, not to really interrupt this train of thought, but I wanted to just get back to what I was saying earlier, and sort of clarify it again, just because I feel like I didn't do a good enough job of sort of explaining my thought process, and I do have to go to bed soon. But like, what I'm saying is that there's this thought or theory that I'm working with, that consciously or unconscious, every interaction that you have, each other person leaves a mark or a change on you, and you carry around those things. You don't choose to necessarily. Sometimes, if you acknowledge it or if it's big enough. But most of these things are completely conscious. And when you carry around this other person, you're carrying around all the interactions they've ever had, and all the interactions that everyone that they interacted with ever had. And so very quickly you can see that the entire world is contained in every connection you have with a person. And that way in which you choose to interact with other people has immense manifestation power. This, to bring it sort of back to the idea of manifestation, because I've also been thinking about that, and this is where it led me, was that I have immense power in how I interact with. And if I choose to interact with people on a particular level, then they carry around me in that interaction, And if it's a powerful enough interaction, it could completely change the course and the direction of how they interact with
Well, listen. I try to avoid changing people's shit at all.
you.
Like honestly, like here's the thing. Like you don't want to be me. Okay, listen. It's bad enough being you. Okay,
I'm
you don't want to
already
be.
you.
Like listen. Like if I walked around and I embodied every person I met, listen, I'd be tasting the tip of a very okay. Listen. I shouldn't make a joke like that. Okay, but I would not want to wake up in the morning. Okay, let's put it like that. It's
But you
bad
can't-
enough. It's bad enough that we had to deal with ourselves. You know, it's bad enough. You know, and empathy is a double-edged sword. Okay, like
Mhm.
this is the point where we have to balance that destructive energy and that creative energy. Okay, this is the
Yeah.
point where we have to understand that the listening ear, okay, will be the only thing that will get the speaking lips to talk. Vice versa, the speaking lips will only open for the listening ears. Okay, you won't truly listen to anything. You won't truly comprehend anything. You won't truly get anything until you truly allow yourself to do that. I mean, for years, I mean, I just went about my life and I just didn't give a shit, you know. And I understood and I figured out through meditation that my problems were created because I, as a child, went through some bad shit. So I muted my feelings. I suppressed my feelings. And that became a habit. You know what I'm saying? I embodied that will to die. You know, not the will to live, but the allowance of death.
Yeah, I've,
You know that
I've
you
embodied that
know.
myself.
So yeah, exactly. But
And so,
like you were talking about, people like let's say someone has depression. Okay, someone is like doesn't want to live more. Okay, you cannot. I mean, you can say things to help them, but
of
in
course,
the end, like you are on like words can only go so far. You know what I'm
of
saying?
course.
The
And
only thing a person can do, and like the only thing a person on the outside can do, is tell them, don't lie to yourself, because it in the end, like if I were looking back at myself when I was going through depression, the thing I would tell myself is truly think about why you're feeling pain. Don't run away from the pain, because the reason is the same reason is why the pain exists to begin with. It's that denial, the endless, you know, attempt to escape that shit.
yes,
The
I'm
is to just reflect on what they think the root cause is.
yeah. So one of my philosophies, one of the most influential things that I've ever heard, and the thing that set me on the path to that I've taken that's brought me here, was someone once said that that people only save themselves. No one can save you. You have to save yourself.
Yeah, and and here's the thing, people, you have to. This is where faith comes into play. Okay,
Mhm.
you have to understand that by taking care of yourself and loving yourself, you love the world, because the
Yes,
world is you.
Indeed,
You are the world.
indeed.
So when
Indeed.
you fix yourself, you fix everything around you, and
Yes.
everything around you begins to fix you. And this is where
Mhm.
ascension begins.
And
That's
this
right.
is where this is why this is what I'm getting at when I was talking about interactions with other people. Because the thing is you were all like, no, I don't want to be anybody. And like I get that, but at the same time, I cannot shake the desire to include within myself the possibility of experience that encompasses every other person on the just as and this was the immediate thought that occurred to me after I had that meditative experience that we talked about at the beginning of the stream was if I can incorporate all of the objects in my room and the room itself into myself for a brief period of time, then is it possible? And the answer is, of course, yes, possible. But what would it be like to incorporate everyone else into myself in that way?
They
And
are.
That's a part of the world. Yes, they are. That's something that I've realized.
You have no control over that. But the only thing you do have control of is growing your awareness to actually be connected to that. Okay?
Yes,
Because
indeed.
you're connected to it whether you like it or not. Okay?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
I think we're on the same page.
And that I can as like a person is build the realization of the fact that I am merely a tool for myself and everyone else, okay? You know, to improve themselves, okay? Because like you there is no limit to success and there is no limit to failure. You can fall forever and you can rise forever. And that's the truth. I mean, there is no end to this bottomless pit, but a pit also that it has a bottom also has a way up too. Because in order for there to be a hole, there has to be the opposite of what a hole is. So there's always a way out, and there's always a way in.
So someone else, when I was saying about the one else was about to say something. Things continued. Who was that?
Oh, that was me.
Well, what were you gonna say?
I forgot actually.
I'm sorry.
It's alright.
I mean, I had kind of a little bit of a thought when you guys brought up, like, affecting people. Sorry, I had, like, pieced off a little bit there, but then I guess I don't know where you guys went with the conversation, but, it kind of brought, like, to mind the idea of the, if you guys know that much about shamanism, the idea of, the eternal spirit, or, like,
Yes.
spirit as a whole, and it's just, I kind of thought that that kind of the idea of affecting people was kind of analogous with the idea of spirit, and if you believe in that, of course, like, then you would know that everything is of spirit and derived from spirit and all that.
Spirit
So
moves through all things.
yeah, so you can't help but affect people just because you exist, if that makes sense.
Indeed.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I think we're all getting to the same.
like it or
thing.
not. Like, and that's the thing too. You affect yourself also. You're like, okay, every single great thing you could accomplish in life always start with a delusion. Okay, let me tell you that for a fact. Nobody just says, okay, I'm gonna be a great person today, and then they just like become a great person. You know what I'm saying? But it all begins with them realizing, like, holy shit, I actually have the potential to become a great person and be nice to people and still respect myself and, like, you know, live, not have to experience pain all the time, and just do what I gotta do. And, you know, if you want to be a painter, start acting like you're a painter. Start painting. You know what I'm saying? And eventually, you'll get good at painting. You just gotta act like what you want to be, and eventually you'll be that. Just a matter of how much you believe that. It's the whole thing about placebo too, and why placebo works. just how much faith you put in something, how much of your energy you put into it, how much you believe it.
Yeah.
Well,
Because it's just like the withering, like the mind is just like water to rock, man. It doesn't just completely break through it like if I were to like take a hammer and crack a rock open, you know. But over years and years and years, okay, that rock will eventually begin to wither away, and that water will start eventually breaking that rock, and the water will win. That's the way it works. It just time is something that's very limited to the mind.
yeah.
You gotta kind of dig your stream.
Yeah, exactly. I love to talk about the consciousness and the conscious energy like water, because that's what it is. We flow through this reality and through time. We through this infinite continuum. You know, it's for the same reason that you know, an hour feel like forever. You know, like when you're doing something you don't want to do and having fun, just time flies by. You know.
Absolutely. Well, I have to go now
All right, man.
after 4 in the morning. So,
Yeah.
but thank you so much for this, and I really enjoyed this
was good
experience,
talking
and I
to you,
hope
man.
that what I said was elucidating in some way.
It was great. It was
It was
great. I really feel like this will be a blessing unto people who listen to it in further days. So I think that we should make this a
hope
regular
so.
thing, that we record some of our voice chats this way, because I feel like we have such a
That
good
sounds good.
community here, and so much wisdom is brought together in so many different forms and so many different people, that I really enjoy just the opportunity to be able to be here with you guys and be able to share what I think and to be able to hear what you think.
Same.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said earlier, you know, just because you have thoughts doesn't mean you gotta act on it. Just because you have emotions doesn't mean you gotta act on it. They're all natural. Like, hey, they're gonna have thoughts are gonna happen, emotions happen. You know, driving forces are gonna happen. But don't judge yourself for them. Don't don't hate yourself for them. You know, don't get too caught up in them. You know, don't be afraid to cry. Don't be afraid to feel angry. You know, but you that and I'm not saying it, the next time you feel mad, go out and like punch somebody's face. I'm definitely not saying that. But
Yeah.
I'm saying don't avidly suppress it, because when you avidly suppress it, that's when you'll build up and then blow up and actually do some dumb shit.
That's
You know what I'm
true.
saying?
That's true.
So and that's the same thing with thoughts. Think about something too much, you'll just build up, and all of a sudden a pin drop sounds like a explosion. Heavy shit.
Yeah.
For the same reason, you know, like I forgot his name already. I feel like a idiot. I'm bad with names. He just left.
Rao?
Yeah, Rao.
Drakenard.
Like he
yeah.
was talking about. Oh, never mind.
Hey, Liliana. How are you?
Hello. I think that that's really a nice thing to say, that you could have any thought and to not judge yourself based on thought.
No,
I mean-
like at the end of the day, we bleed, we shit, you know, we eat. I mean, I'm sorry for being so vulgar,
No,
but you
it's-
know, it's all comedic in the end.
I
It's
used
all
to-
it's all a joke, you know. We of course if someone's being a dick to you, you're gonna feel angry. Okay, you don't have to play, you know, the saint role. Be like, oh, beat the shit out of me. I won't do anything. because I'm so pious. You're being a fool as much as the guy beaten. You know what I'm saying? You got to stand up for yourself and tell that guy, you're being a fool. Be that mirror and say, okay, look how crazy you're acting. Look how much you're clinging to this emotion, being controlled by your mind. You know what I'm saying? It's so hard to explain
Well, that's what
because
something
I do it too. I talk about this stuff like I'm so smart and shit, but it's like at the end of the day, I'm a fool.
But
Like,
if
don't
you,
get me wrong, I'm a fool.
if you
Okay.
want to let someone hit you, then perhaps you ought to. I mean, for example, it came to
It's
my
whatever
attention-
feels
it
right
ca-
at the moment.
It came to my attention that a lot of people think that what the Bible preaches is cucked. If someone slaps you, then turn the other cheek. But it so happens that in that time that it was written, to slap someone with the opposite side of your hand would be absolutely humiliating. So to turn your other cheek would mean that if they wanted to hit you again, they would realize that they just couldn't, and then that kind of reaction would happen within them, rather than you having to say anything whatsoever.
Right, but well,
Yeah,
we actually have the same thing in our culture. To front hand slap someone, is an act of aggression. To backhand slap someone is
What
an
would-
act of dominance. They're two separate things.
Yes.
What would be that culture?
What was that?
What do you mean by your culture?
Oh, well, I mean by Western culture in general. I feel like
All right, yeah.
maybe it's not
It would
all
hurt
of
your
your
hand, to be honest.
but to backhand someone is a different message than to fronthand them, and it's
Yeah, for
Listen,
sure.
I think we're getting too caught up in this.
no, it's
But-
not. No,
Yeah,
you
I-
can never be too caught up
Get
in
it.
what they meant in the Bible, because they really did mean the things that they said. They really did mean them the way they said them, and when
I don't. I see that's where I think I disagree. Because I feel like the whole entire Bible is symbolic.
well, it is symbolic,
I look
but
at
it is symbolic.
Codex more than an instruction guide.
It is symbolic, but it's also
that
has
is
a
symbolic.
truth. It's like, okay, so
That is symbolic, and that
if someone
Go ahead,
someone slaps you, if they left hand slap you, and you turn to them the other cheek also, so that they can right hand slap you, you're not only saying, okay, I accept your left hand slap. You're saying, now slap unto me the right hand also, and complete the humiliation.
So you're saying? So what if your mother slapped you?
Okay, so then you say,
What if someone you victimized and did wrong unto you slapped you? Would you slap them back?
no, the point is
No.
that after you turn your cheek, the person sees that because their hand is about to backhand you, think about it. Think about the sweep of your arm when you slap someone. So you slap someone with your open palm. You slap them, and then your hand is resting at your left shoulder, about somewhere near there. And then you have your backhand next to them. They turn to you the other cheek, and you would swing back the other way with the same hand. But that would be a different thing. The point is that the person who is receiving it, they receive the front hand slap, right? Well, that is the slap of chastisement. It's a slap that chastises you. And then you turn to them the other cheek to willingly say, will you humiliate me? To willingly submit yourself for humiliation. And if they will slap you, then that's on them. If they choose to humiliate you, that's
let me
their...
ask you, who's the greater fool then? Who's the greater fool?
Well, it's the person who's slapping.
You know?
it doesn't really matter who is the greater fool. The fool is not a terrible thing to be.
Fool is not a terrible
The
thing. That's
fool
what we're
is
talking about.
completely-
That's a role that you have.
Submitted to his heart. The fool is Mercurian energy at its fullest, in my opinion.
Exactly. there has to be somebody to turn the other cheek, because if there wasn't, everyone would be dead. That's some real shit.
To be humiliated is not the thing that humans make it out to be when they are completely submitted to thinking that that the physical is all that there is. To be humiliated is something that teaches us and teaches everybody else. It's a process that keeps us away from attaching who we are and what we see to being real.
I'm just gonna interject real quick here. It's 2 a.m. here. I'm gonna peace out. This was nice. I I got a lot from it, but I gotta pass out. So
Hey, have a
All
nice
right,
day.
we'll see you, man. Good night.
thanks. Night.
Have a good night.
Good night. Yeah, this. I think we ought to do this as a regular thing. Make like Sunday nights kind of like a, regular talk time, and then we'll make like a YouTube podcast / radio show about, the things that we talk about, which can be anything. We have our question of the day, so we can maybe try to do something like that, like with some prompts for conversations.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, we have our VCs, but it's nice to have a VC that's dedicated to talking about what the server is ultimately about.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you never. Okay. Well, I don't believe in that either. Like, you gotta keep it flexible.
Yeah.
As my deceased father would say, keep it simple, stupid. And every day I find that true every day more and more.
My mom also talks about that a lot.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, simplicity is the.
Sometimes the simplest thing is the most complicated.
Yeah,
So-
exactly. Like, if you can explain something in the most simplistic way to where everyone can understand it, you are the true genius. The true idiot is the person who makes it so
Wait.
inexplicitly coded in big words and egotistical circle jerking. If I mean to be vulgar here, ego away a lot. I'm an enemy ego, man. I like to. I don't. I don't
I
mess with-
think I love the ego because the ego is like a child and it needs to be loved. And to
It
hate it
needs to be
only
loved,
makes it
but-
stronger.
The ego is a part of me that works along with the part of me that also hates the ego. It works in unison. The only difference is the part of me that hates my ego. I understand why it does what it does, but of course the spirit's gonna hate the ego because it's ignorant. Just like, I mean, hate's a big word. I shouldn't say hate. I get annoyed by it, I guess.
Hate is the strongest feelings, and I
You
would
see,
say that
you
the
see,
spirit
the
loves
imbalances in me.
everything.
You see, I'm
The
not a
spirit
perfect
loves
person.
every-
Will you guys
yeah,
do
of
me a
course.
favor?
Exactly.
Do me a favor and just type exclamation point skip into the BC chat. chat.
You get yourself in the trap here. I got you.
Yeah, because I just want to. I posted the wrong YouTube link on accident.
Yeah, this robot voice is lovely, Lex.
Yeah,
I'm sure she's saying something great, but the robot voice is just really
Yeah.
difficult to listen to.
yeah. Just type exclamation point skip, and we'll go to some Tibetan singing bowls, which is what I like to listen to a lot of the time.
And also, when I say I'm an enemy of the ego, it's just that most people lean to the side of the ego more than the soul. You know what I'm saying? So most of the time, people people need that work to sort of get themselves out of their ego, and I know I do. I see, that's me. What is it called? Objectifying myself to the external world around me. You know, which I shouldn't do. You know, because I guess you could say I was kind of a control freak. You know what I'm saying? I was so afraid of failure. I was just like, oh man, I don't really want to do anything. And do nothing I did. One day I got sick of it.
Honestly, I have to say that my path was the opposite. I was so little in control, and I cared about so little because I was so detached from my ego as a child that I had to build an ego, to be honest. As an adult, I mean, too little or too much is the same thing. But,
Yeah, in the end, yeah,
Hey Liliana, please,
causes the same.
please type exclamation point skip into the VC text channel. Okay,
there you go.
there we go.
I did like the part where she said heaven and earth is literally where we live, but you know.
Yeah. There we go. Now it's something nice.
Something chill, you know. What? No, it started a new.
Yeah.
What the? Oh.
Something.
I'll skip again.
Okay.
Oh wait, you need three people to skip because we are 1, 2, 3, 4. We are 4 in the channel.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on.
You wrote skin.
Okay. There we go. Well, now it's playing both. Oh wait, no, that's just me playing my own YouTube channel. Okay.
Okay, it should skip now. Cue the same song play again.
Okay.
Man, I should fucking be asleep. This is my 2-day weekend before I gotta go back to work, and here I am being an idiot.
I don't know. I'm having a good time.
I can pull my food schedule back in order. So what are you saying, World Drifter?
I said, yeah, I got work in 3 hours. It's too late for me to go to sleep.
Oh God, man, I pray for you.
Yeah.
How you
Sleep.
gonna
I mean,
do it? What's your plan?
Oh, it's gonna be some Tibetan singing bowls, but it's just like a long video, so.
Dude, Tibetan singing bowls like give me anxiety.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's weird. Like-
why do they do that?
It's because I don't
Like
like
these?
thinking about like dude, I got the bot muted, so you can't pull
Okay.
that shit on me.
Okay.
It's like what do you mean like this? Oh shit, that's funny.
What is it missing?
It's because that recording is 9 hours long, so it can't be.
Yeah, it is long. It's very long. I listen to it a lot when I go to sleep. It's just like something I do because I
How
like
does it affect her dreams?
it. Well, so what? I've been practicing a practice called dream yoga for a long time. The Tibetan monks practice this dream yoga, which is that you wake up to a certain thing. Like, so what you do is you lay perfectly still in whatever posture is comfortable to you. But I usually sleep on my right side and facing east, like the Buddha did when he died
and the Mahaparinirvana Sutra.
Oh
And-
shit!
And so
Oh my god!
in that thing,
God, just did us, man.
what?
I'm sorry, I'm being a fucking idiot.
Well,
I'm just making my laugh. I spilled my drink everywhere.
oh no, that sucks. I'm sorry.
Do you guys in America have I mean, oh, sorry, Lex, go ahead. It's just, I was just wondering because in France we have like either a brioche or a cake with almonds in the middle, and in Greece we also do a walnut cake to commemorate the coming of the three kings and the rebirth of Jesus Christ in the spring, and we have either a coin or a figurine of Jesus hidden in the cake, and someone gets it. Do you guys have something like that in America that you do?
No.
That kind of reminds me of Mardi Gras, like where they put like the baby cake.
Yeah, it's called king cake.
There
Yeah,
you
do
go.
you guys have that in America?
Yeah.
Apparently,
Oh, cool.
but I've never heard of it.
I
Aw.
have, man. At least people
fun.
in my town have it. It's delicious, man. You're making me hungry. I gotta get me some. There ain't no food in my house right now, man. I ate all of it. I had like a bunch of
You
shit,
ate all
but I
of
ate
it.
it all. Listen, I've been working for like 3 days straight. I just come home and take a shower and go straight to bed.
Yeah, fair enough.
I was going full out like work mode, man. I worked in like 3 days. I worked a total. I start my shift at 4 o'clock and I go home at like 12, so that's 8 hours of work a day. 3 days. Well, that's not actually that bad. Well, shit. But
I do telemarketing from home for Geico.
oh, how is that?
It's fucking awesome.
I bet. I don't know. I like being around people, man. It keeps me from going cuckoo.
Yeah, which is why I work at Culver's too, because you'll find just talking to people on the phone, you get kind of depressed.
Yeah, you get detached.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hate that.
but
That's why I don't have a phone. I have just a
$400
little flip phone.
yesterday doing telemarketing.
I'm sorry, man. I spoke over you like a asshole. What are you saying?
I said I made $400 yesterday just convincing people to talk to a licensed insurance agent.
Nice. Getting them
I get
commissions.
$50 every time someone transfers.
Well, I guess you're in the right field for you at the moment, then, man. You're doing them some damn good work.
Yeah.
You think you're gonna be getting a raise or something?
Well, they're talking about moving me to $70 a call
Ooh, that sounds good.
because I'm one of the, like, don't want to say top people, but I'm good at.
You're
good at it. I
definitely
have a
one of the
high
more adept.
transfer rate.
That's what you're trying to say.
What?
It said you're definitely one of the more adept people.
I guess so, yeah. Because I looked up, because we have a database where we can look up, like, our statistics.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it was, but I was pretty high success rate, so I think that's why they want to move me to 70 a transfer.
Yeah, it sounds fair enough. If you're getting a higher success rate than other people, then they need to start paying you more. Because you're doing twice the work pretty much than the average worker. That's how it works. That's why people get raises, because they work better than the average person.
Yeah.
So I hope you get what you deserve.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to be a little bit firm with it too. You know, sometimes people need a little push.
Yeah. I'm just content with the 50 though, because
Well,
I
that's
messed
awesome.
up.
That's probably why it's gonna be coming your way, man. It's because you're content with what you already have.
Yeah.
Yeah, the more you want more, the less you're gonna
Think
get.
about it, we're making like $200 a day. Like, how could you argue with that?
Yeah,
200 on
that's
an
honestly
average
not
day.
bad. And plus, you can do all that at home. You don't have to like dress up in uniform or you know
Yeah.
any of that shit. Pay for gas money, or just run miles up on your car. That in itself is just tough.
Yeah.
Especially like where I live.
For a year, but when I moved, they gave me a work phone and said I could keep working for 'em.
Right. So you could stay like connected and like with your boss.
Yeah, because the phone I use has kind of an interesting software on it, you know. It's not like a normal phone. It's got the Geico software on it where it can do the transfers and stuff really
Yeah,
easily.
it has the preset, so with like a click of a button, you can transfer them to like a certain department or like
Yeah.
a certain division, and so on and so forth. So you
Yeah.
have like the whole like redirection system in like the palm of your hand.
Yeah, but it's that phone's nicer than my phone, and I'm tempted to use it to play that mobile game I played.
Yeah, you should. Like they
But
don't have
then
no
I get in
rules anyway.
trouble, but because like they know everything I do on it. One time I looked up like
Listen, okay, if you're doing as good as it sounds like you're doing, all right, you deserve to be able to play a little bit of a mobile game. Okay, I'm just saying.
Hey,
Yeah.
hey, World Drifter, what is your background with like occult studies? What are you up to?
I do a lot of general spiritual stuff. I do a lot with energy work, meditation, all kinds of things. Astral projection.
Cool, man. Do you have a religious background of some kind?
Well, kind of hard to explain. But I guess I would call myself a hermetic spiritualist if I had to call myself something.
Another hermeticist.
Yeah.
The goddamn hermeticist, I'm telling you what.
No.
I was raised Hellenic. Like most people, like who say they're a hermeticist, have never read the Kabbalion, but you know, I have one on my desk right now.
It's a good book.
Yeah. Like, I read the Three Initiates, or wherever I got it on audiobook, the Three Initiates interpretation of it, and it's good, but it just don't do it
On
justice,
YouTube
you
with
know?
that British guy who's narrating it, and he's like the Kabbalion. I think I know what you're talking about.
No, there's actual audiobook on Amazon of the Three Initiates version. Didn't have like a British accent, but he was like so serious about it. It kind of made me laugh.
I know the dude that you're talking about. Did he repeat the Kabbalion like a lot, or he was like the
Yeah.
Kabbalion?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know. I heard the same fucking. I heard the same guy. That dude made me laugh my ass off, man. He kind of like confused me because he was like the Kabbalion. I thought he was like saying it is like something to like increase the intensity or something, but he was just quoting the Kabbalion.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was just the way he said it. He sounded so intense. It's just like the Kabbalion. I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah, but he'd say the Kabbalion to differentiate when he was talking from the three initiates, and then he'd say the Kabbalion when he was talking about the Kabbalion.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm fucking weird, man. I just thought it was funny.
Yeah, I'm really a big fan of the whole Corpus Hermeticum. Everything that's in the Corpus Hermeticum, from the Pymander on, is really groundbreaking stuff.
You guys all know that Hermes is Thoth, right?
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
Like Tahuti is Thoth, and Tahuti is also Hermes.
Yeah, have you watched any of my lectures at all?
Yeah, I did. I checked that one out you sent me.
Well, I did one on Thoth Hermes Trismegistus, and
Yeah, I saw that one too. Where you were talking about the whole thing where he was a wise man that it like what you okay. I'm gonna start it like this. The way you like started the stream, you like read that whole like poem thing where it was like the like Hermes came out and was like a transparent being.
yeah,
You know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Was that the same stream?
I think so. I think it was.
Yeah, okay. So then I'm thinking about the right one. But yeah, I think a lot of the shit I'm talking about right now and what I know about Hermes is from that stream. So, yeah. I did watch.
Yeah, yeah. Thoth and Tahuti are the same, and Hermes Trismegistus is also the same as them. And of course, that's Mercury, and Mercury is the messenger and the fastest planet around the sun. So. There you go.
Yeah. And he's like in every religion. Like I don't know if you know much about hoodoo, voodoo, and the Loas, but when they do their spirit work and all that, when they call upon Papa Legba, which is basically they call him the gatekeeper. He's the person that they invoke, summon to basically open the gates to the temple, so that the Loas can come through to our world.
I had dreams about that guy, Papa Legba, and to be honest,
Papa Legba, he's scary, ain't he? You probably saw
no, he's a really fun guy.
Dude, he's scary.
I'm usually playing jokes and tricks with him, and he's fun.
Here's the thing. Remember how earlier you said that we both went. You had to create your ego, and I had to destroy my ego.
Mhm.
You seeing the connection here?
To achieve
Why
balance.
I feared Papa Legba and why you thought Papa Legba was hilarious and cool.
I mean, for me, he appeared, and I just started singing this crazy song. I was like singing, "I can do anything better than you," and he was just laughing the whole time.
Yeah, he seemed playful. Yeah, for me, I saw him like at a visage. It was like black and white, and it was like hunched over with his cane, and there was a black dog behind him, and he was at a crossroad, and he was like looking at me from a distance, like confused, like he was like wondering what I was doing. I still remember that. Like it's crazy. I don't think about it like that anymore. Like I would like to say I think of it like you know. Uh, but yeah, I don't fear him anymore. I guess I really don't. I don't fear anything.
That's really
Try
interesting.
not to.
And what is the connection between Papa Legba and Baron Samedi?
Baron Samedi.
Yeah.
Well, Baron Samedi, it basically is the god of like mischief. He's what you think of when you think of the Hexer, the that destructive male energy that I was talking about earlier. The prickly
Yeah.
people.
So he's kind of like
That
Loki.
he
or-
Baron Samedi is basically that far other side. Basically, like the Hoot version of the devil.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So Baron Ensamdi basically was depicted as this drug using, gambling, dangerous man that is depicted with like face paint on and a crazy suit, you know. A good movie to watch related to this shit. We should have a movie night about this actually, called The Serpent and the Rainbow. Okay. And it tells this real story about this guy who goes to Haiti to investigate the Haitian zombie and all of that nonsense, you know. And
Yeah.
through that, he learns a lot about their religion. And he encounters this one point in the movie. He encounters a person mounted by the Loa of Baron Samdi with the face paint and everything. And he comes up to him, smiles at him, unravels his hand, and blows dust in his face. And to a person, who doesn't know about hoodoo and this form of magic, that shit is called goofer dust. I know that sounds silly, but you can look it up in the hoodoo religion, in the hoodoo practice. I mean to say, it is called goofer dust. It's meant to pretty much hex somebody. Like if you're doing a bad deed, or if you're going beyond a boundary, it basically turns your energy back at you. It's like to dumbfound you, pretty much. That's why it's called goofer dust, because you stand stupefied at your own basic stupidity.
That sounds
You
fascinating.
know. So it's like it's a crazy curse. So, but basically, to the enlightened person, goofer dust would do nothing, because there's no noise to turn up. There's only silence.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say here?
Yeah. Yeah.
How can you crucify the man who has done nothing at all, who is completely innocent? In the end, you'll be the one feeling guilty, the man being crucified.
That's
So
great. That's a pretty interesting thing to think about, because
Baron Onsomni basically resembles that dark negative energy.
I like that. I ought to. Do you know any good books that are a good reference for the voodoo religion?
No. Not, I know I sound silly saying that, but honestly, man, just start researching it on the web. That's what I did. You know, talking to people. Just keep it in your mind. You know, the information will come to you.
Okay. Yeah, I
My
mean,
uncle knows a lot about that stuff.
I mean, Hoodoo religion, as I understand it, is mostly passed on by word, right? And there's not many concrete texts actually speaking. About
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mostly
right.
it's passed on by
The
ancestors.
practice. Yeah. The only reason I know is because it runs in my family.
I see.
Someone related to the family that was
Yeah,
basically
he's not my uncle by blood. He's my uncle by marriage. He's this how do I say this? Black guy from New Orleans, so you know he's involved in that stuff.
Right, I know what you mean. Like, I know you're trying not to be like that.
Yeah, but me and him have talked about it before, and it's real interesting stuff. Maybe I could get him to join Discord and talk about it here. I don't know.
That's
He'd
cool.
probably be down.
But like I said earlier, man, you always want to be careful when you tamper with any form of magic because that's when you start to get spiky. you know you want to have that balance and when you start in projecting yourself too much into the world, and I'm not saying you should never do it, you know what I'm saying, but when you start doing it too much, just like how if you start being too amorphous and letting things control you and make your destiny, you know, they both have pros and cons, but mostly both of them have cons too far left and right. So, you know,
Yeah.
it's just about the whole thing about the sinning and the repentance. You know, the body will always sin, but the soul must repent. That's what makes it okay. You know, because
Yeah.
if you acknowledge your stupidity and your ignorance and how much pain you caused, whatever you did to its full extent, and you truly repent without no remorse, chances are you probably won't do it again. Unless you really have to. You associate that pain you feel with that. You know. I try and feel sympathy for every, like I do. It's like it is a muscle, you know. It's more of a psychic psychic so less. It's a great tool for, you know, being happy and healthy, but it's also good part with that. I don't know. Most of the time, I feel happy just being empathetic.
Yeah, for sure. Clairsentience is feeling the emotions of others, and it is a psychic ability that's often left underseen, I think.
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
there's some people who
It's a
have
gift
to
and a curse.
that have to fight back, slapped in the face, and there's some people who have to take that slap. That's how it goes.
Because I'm pretty clairsentient myself. Like, I get people's intentions from their words a lot.
Mhm.
And sometimes the reason people say things ticks me off more than what they're saying, you know?
Yeah, but
It's something I really
don't be
had to
telling them
learn.
what they mean. That doesn't go down well usually.
It's something I really had to struggle with when I was developing that ability because, like, knowing what people mean by what they say thing, I really do say it's a gift and a curse, but it's only a gift if you make it one, you know? To me, it's more of a curse.
Or
I
just
think it's a
sit
gift
back into the gift and
because
let it
yeah, like
develop around you.
everyone. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm talking over you.
No, that's fine. I don't mind.
I shouldn't do that. It's a bad habit.
Well, at least you got good insight.
But I don't know, man. I just feel like we all have natural feelings. Like the shit's natural. I completely lost what we were talking about. What were you saying earlier before I started talking?
I was talking about how I've developed my abilities where I get people's intentions from their words a lot.
Oh, yeah, empathy. Well, like I was saying, we all feel the same emotions. Like it, we all try and act like we don't, but we do. You know, it's just a different extreme. Like how far out there are you? Like with that aspect, how much are you actually out there? Uh, some people are at their baseline. Like for me, I feel like my biggest problem is that I'm too neutral. I'm too leaning towards the side of the will to die. I don't really I'm too comfortable with where I'm just too dang comfortable. So my work is just I'm trying to allow myself to uh feel that pain more so I can actually get going.
Yeah.
So far it's been
You know, that kind of ties into what I was just thinking about the curse of about the said curse of empathy, because the curse can also be a gift because you let yourself feel the pain of other people, and you feel all of that pain, and
Understand
it
it, you can
hurts,
truly help them.
but it can purify you, and it can also help purify other people because you feel the pain and you want to raise the consciousness of the vibrations of people around you because of that pain. And that's where
Yeah,
a lot of help from an empath point of view comes from, is wanting to help others because you want to help yourself, because you are
yeah,
feeling their pain and you don't want to feel that pain anymore.
yeah.
all right. I accidentally unplugged my headset. Okay, I'm gonna go get something to drink real quick.
Man, I've been getting weird signals from Nalgrim all night. You all know him, right?
Yeah, I know Nogram.
Me and him are part of a 3-point binding with an entity. It's
What
kind of tricky.
entity, if I can ask?
Uh, you can call him Rashish if you want. It's what he goes by to other people.
What does he govern?
What?
What does he govern? You
Well, he's a demon of solar affinity. Think I might try calling Nalgrim soon because he's obviously up. Everyone got quiet after I said that.
Oh, I was just thinking about it, trying to understand, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about how singing can be one of the fastest ways to connect to the divine energy. And this morning when I woke up, I was connected with some knowledge on the Orthodox worship, because that is the I mean, where I live, there's mostly just Orthodox churches. I actually think it might be illegal to have anything other than that here. I mean, illegal. I mean, some people still practice paganism, but it's not looked upon kindly. I mean, here, in every other country, people talk about Greek paganism, but in Greece, like, talking about Greek paganism is not really done, to be honest. Anyway,
Yeah.
there's an explanation talking about the Orthodox worship in the churches and how it's always sung, and chanting in the Orthodox tradition can be described as halfway between talking and singing. It's musical, but it's not music, and only a few notes are used in chanting, and the chanter reads the words of these notes as a steady rhythm. The notes and rhythm used vary according to what the occasion is, but generally chanting is relatively low-toned and steadily rhythmic, creating a calming sound. Chanting not only is conducive to a calm and elevated state of mind, but also allows chanters to read through large portions of text more clearly and quickly than possible with normal. And this kind of connection between worship and singing, I thought was really, really beautiful, because singing in its most direct form comes from the heart, which is the temple of worship before the church, really. So
Yeah.
Hello?
What's up?
hi.
Hey. It's like 66 degrees in my house, and for some reason it's hot. Or apparently it's 66 degrees. I don't know.
That means nothing to a Fahrenheit person. No, to a Celsius person, I mean. Fahrenheit,
Yeah, I know.
I don't
Us
understand.
Americans are silly metric system.
I think are you guys the only people who use it?
Yep. It's not my fault. I didn't choose to do this. All right. I didn't choose to be like, okay, everybody, time to just say, okay, let's just be a special snowflake and use a metric system.
It's like when people talk in feet, I'm like, in pounds. I'm like, okay, what is that in centimeters and kilos?
Yeah, I need to learn like things other than metric system. Like,
Yeah.
To be fair-
Used to have an app on my phone because I have so many friends in other countries. I would just calculate it for them.
that's cool.
To be fair, kilos are more easy to convert, because one kilo is about 2.2 pounds, but Fahrenheit is, I don't think, is so easy.
No, that's why I have to use the app. I'm not a very good math person. I think it's forget the unit of measurement, but Fahrenheit is in 12s and Celsius is in like 15s, so it's kind of hard.
Wait, I think like that. Yeah, he's snoring right now, man.
Who?
Lex, he fucking
Yeah.
passed out in his chair.
Sweet dreams, Lex.
Down. Oh,
I was wondering why it was so quiet.
yeah, well, he ain't quiet.
He's sleeping.
Hey, for years.
So what time is it where you all are from?
It's almost 12.
In the afternoon or the morning?
It's between the afternoon and the morning. It's not the morning, it's the afternoon. The sun is up.
So is that like,
It's that Tibetan bowl music that did the sleeping.
yeah, that's what I'm culprit. I got that shit muted. That's why I'm awake. No, I'm the fool here. I should probably sleep anyway.
Yeah, I would, but I was playing order to one hopped off, I hopped in here, honestly, because Anchoy was in here. I didn't, there's, to be honest, good conversations in this church from when I've been in VC, but Anchoy was in here, so
I can't hear your world drift.
that's weird.
Sleeping can be hard to come by, but it's really important.
I just
Yeah.
sleep whenever I feel like I gotta sleep. Like I can feel like I'm tired, but eventually it gets to a point where it's like, okay, it's time to stop. You know, like
I try to fight it too much, to be honest. I don't sleep at the time where I ought to sleep.
I find it a little bit, but I just know my limits. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and plus I ain't got nothing to do tomorrow. I'll probably sleep all day tomorrow anyways.
There is something that's really calming and comforting about waking up with the sun, though.
Yeah. Makes you feel like you're in sync.
Yeah. I had a dream recently that was telling me that most of my problems come from not sleeping at the right time or sleeping enough. Like not sleeping at the right time and not sleeping enough would lead to irritability, which would lead to not being as kind to people as I could, and snapping, which would lead to feelings of guilt, which would be harbored, and not actually just sleeping at the right time and sleeping enough would be the cure to it, which sounds simple, but it's really not sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to get. I get so caught up in this whole Discord thing, talking to people. Like
Yeah, that's what I do.
4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock comes around. It's like I didn't even feel it by. Like, oh well, shit. I guess the way I look at it is that if time flies by that quick, for whatever reason, because of what I'm doing, probably
Yeah,
whatever,
I mean,
or it's just something I enjoy doing. Talking to you guys. No, it
It's-
was cool talking to Lex, but now he ain't talking to me anymore. Wait a minute, is the live stream still going?
Live stream.
Yeah, he was live streaming.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe this is an actual resident sleeper stream right now. Wait, where's
They
Twitch?
don't exist.
Dude, is this an actual resident sleeper? Oh, please tell me.
Oh, so is he streaming on his channel?
Is he not?
I don't know. We can check because I know his YouTube channel is posted here on the altar. So wait on.
Oh, does he stream on YouTube? Wait,
I mean, he often streams on YouTube. The Academy revived. Yeah. There's something on his channel that's live now.
oh my God, it is. Is this an actual sleeper? Oh my God, it's a resident sleeper stream. It's actually real. Is he not?
I don't know.
He fell asleep with the stream on.
Yeah, he's oh, well, he was
Is there
peaceful
anyone in the
enough to
chat
sleep.
right now? What's the name of his channel?
It's just his name. Lex White.
What's the name of his channel again?
It's his name, Lex White.
Oh, okay. Lex White. $65 subscribers.
I mean, it's probably pretty
Yeah,
late
this is
or
it.
early for him.
This is it. Oh no, there's only one person watching.
That's me.
Dang, dude, we got no views. That's sad.
That's fine.
Oh, wait a minute. You can actually see him sleeping on the stream. You can see him sleeping on the stream. There he is. Oh my God.
His YouTube channel is posted.
Why is this so funny to me?
There's more subscribers than me. I don't even have a channel.
The way he's laying there, man, he just looks like he got knocked out. Oh, great. I think it's time to end this shit show.
Probably. Everyone should go to peaceful sleep now.
Alright, good night, everyone.
Good night.
Nice talking to you all.